thank you for doing this, because I know this is not Paul's jam. As beautiful as this man is, he shies away from the camera. We've been friends for almost 30 years. Some people don't believe he exists, so I had to get this down on tape. Rebecca and I, we've been together coming up on 8.5 years.
Yeah, I know.
And she's never met him. But
I've only seen you 2 times in those the last 7 or 8 years too. So
yeah, and I find that's interesting because we talk at least a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes we talk almost every day.
Yeah.
Lately, it feels like we've been talking twice a day. Some days. There's a lot going on.
I got a lot going on, so do you.
So Paul was born in
Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And how'd you end up in South Florida? And it wasn't a direct route to South Florida, right?
No, we went. I was born in Bridgeport. My father had a job in Stamford, Connecticut, and was born there. Then we ended up in Mexico City for the next 3-4 years of my life. Then we went to Orlando, and were there for a little while. And then my father started his own business, telecommunications business, and the international flights out of Miami were where he needed to be. And so that's how I ended up in Miami when I was 7-8 years old, I guess.
7-8 years old. And did you move right into that house?
In Florida, yeah, in Miami, yeah.
The 136 house?
Yeah.
So that was your first house in Miami?
That was my first house in Miami, yeah. And then I moved out of that house and lived on my own after that. So.
But, okay, so when you were 8 or 9, you moved in there, and then you went to school at?
Conchita Espinosa Academy.
Conchita Espinosa.
Yeah. Known mostly for their performing arts, but it was a good school.
Yeah, a lot of the kids from our circle, surprisingly, they went there. I had never heard of it until I got to high school.
Right. It's right next to Belen.
Right. So you went there, and then afterwards you ended up at
Belen.
Did you do middle school at Belen?
No, I got to my 9th grade.
9th grade.
And then off to FIU.
What was our first class together?
It was homeroom freshman year. It was you all right? Yeah,
I'm good.
And it was Mr. Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to be an FBI agent.
Yes. He was a descendant of Grover Cleveland, apparently, and he thought he had a pretty good chance. But I think now he's the FBI agent of the campus. He's in charge of security.
He doesn't teach anymore. He just went right into security.
Yeah. He's got a golf cart.
He's got a golf cart.
Yeah.
He still wears his glasses, I'm sure.
Still wears his glasses, yeah. That's the last I heard.
He was a funny guy. He had his mustache.
Yep.
Looking back on that, everybody seemed so much older when we were kids, and now we're probably older than he was when he was teaching, which is kind of bizarre. So one of my first questions is, we end up talking about our kids quite a bit and parenting, and both our parents have different parenting styles.
I would agree.
Paul's been there for some of the greatest discipline moments where my father had to teach me a lesson. What do you think you're doing different now as a father than how we were raised, and why do you think?
I had my child when I was 40, so I'm an older dad. I'm 44 now. He's 4. Our parents' generation was just more. They were a little bit more on the hard discipline and the tough love, and hugs from dad weren't a lot.
Yeah.
Now I hug my son every time I see him. I hug him throughout the day, tell him how much I love him, how proud I am of him. I use a lot more, and I had great parents. They were very encouraging, and they gave me all the skills and tools that I needed to be successful. But it was, it was more of that family structure where there's a little bit more of maybe like a fine line between getting things done. And again, my kid's only 4, so when he gets to be 8 or 9, who knows what it's gonna look like. But no, I take a little bit more of a lenient approach. I try to teach the responsibility that he needs to learn in a very, very calm manner. And I love the way I grew up. I thought my parents did a great job. I love my parents to death. I spend 6 months out of the year. They're up where I live now, and I love hanging out with them. I have a great relationship with my father. Talk to my mom every day. But yeah, I think it's just a different world right now. I think a little more. I don't want to say coddling because I teach my son discipline, but I'm very, very involved in his life. My father was in international business, so he traveled a lot. Yeah, just trying to be there as much as I can and just enjoy the moment to moment, you know.
My dad, you were there, we were just talking about this the other day. One time I maybe had my driver's license a week.
If that.
My dad, we were going to the mall, and my dad asked me to leave him at the door and us go park the car. Yeah. Took like 30 minutes. And
couldn't find a space.
And I guess I have my point of view on it, but you witnessed it. What was your perspective? You had a nice vantage point.
Yeah, there wasn't much conversation. There was a couple curse words in Spanish, and then a nice straight shot to the middle of the chest that you could hear two stores down. I think we were in Burdines or Macy's or something like that. He was pissed. And then there wasn't much more conversation after that. I think we just kind of walked through the mall and picked up whatever we were there to get. And that was that. You took it though. You took it like a champ.
Took it. Eyes watered up a little bit, you know. A little bit of pride was a little pride. One of the things that I took from that moment is my dad really hit me hard.
Oh yeah, he gave it to you.
But I think my dad, didn't really mean to hit me as hard as, you know, as we say in Spanish, se le fue la mano.
Yeah, a little bit.
And also when he hit me as hard as he did and I took it, I think my dad had his moment where, because after that, my dad basically, I think that was his moment where he realized he's a little too old for this shit, you know?
Well, it was in a public place too, and also my father and I had the same things. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was, and there was a moment too where I had a similar situation. It was inside of my own home, but yeah, he gave me a shot, and I just kind of stood up, and I didn't cry, I didn't say anything. He gave me a good shot, and he said, "If you lift your hands at me, you're going to throw you out of this house." And I said, "I'm not going to lift your hands at you, but I'm going to stand here until you show me the respect of not doing that to me." You know, and I don't hit my kid, and my dad's not a violent guy. Your dad's not a violent guy. Yeah. That's how they were raised. You know, it's a different ball game. But yeah, I've never spanked my kid. I've never, you know, I don't scream at him. I speak to him sternly, and he's a good boy. He listens. He seems to be accepting the guidance and learning the lessons. And you know, if he does something silly one day, the next day he says, "See, Dad, look, I did it like this," and so it's working for me, you know.
Yeah. Your dad is older than my dad?
Yeah, my dad's 70. He just turned 72 this year. My parents have been married 50 years. Right. This past year, they just had their anniversary.
That's great.
It's crazy. 50 years.
And my dad is 70. They're about the same time, and your dad was a big football player.
In high school, yeah, he played high school football. Yeah, and he was a smart guy, probably the smartest guy I know.
Yeah, and how often do you talk to your dad?
On the phone? Yeah. Almost never. When he's here, I go over there. We sit down, we smoke a cigar, we have dinner as much as we can. He comes into the restaurant, but no, on the phone very, very seldomly. We do some text messaging, typically about sports, things like that.
Right.
But no, he's playing golf. He's retired. I've got things going on, so it's.
There was a point where I think both of us, you didn't talk to your dad for a while, right?
We had a couple stints, yeah.
Like I had a couple. I think like a year. Every stint was maybe close to a year. The amazing result of all of that is, I mean, I basically talk to my dad every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And in terms of smart, my dad's a CPA, and the older I get, the smarter I realize that he is.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for me to make any professional moves without at least consulting with him, throwing it his way.
He's my guy too. I mean, my dad is, that's why I talk to him if I'm making business decisions. It's a smart guy.
Yeah. And with all the bullshit going on in the world, you know, like, I know we can't, you know, it's a different world and the politics and all of that stuff. But with the beatings and the screamings,
we turned out all right.
I mean, we turned out all right.
You're a handful though, man. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm my father's son too, and I had a different, because you had your family together, your parents were together, and you were an only child.
Yep.
So you had all the eyes on you. Whereas, you know, even though I have my siblings, they're halves. I had, you know, I bounced from one house to another. You know, I could get away. Yeah. from either, you know, and it was a lot easier for us to, you know, sneak out of the house because, you know, I tell my dad I'm going to stay at my mom's. I tell my mom I'm going to stay at my dad's. Paul would tell his parents he's staying over at my place, and you know, we'd end up like, you know, sitting in the car till 9 in the morning.
Until the sun came up.
You know.
Doing who knows what.
Yeah, bowling.
Bowling, yeah. Don Carter's.
Don Carter's
was always
bowling.
open.
We crushed Pac-Man.
Yeah.
You know, man, we haven't played Pac-Man in a very long time.
This girl was telling us that over there by the stadium there's a barcade like right by the stadium that it has all the 80s.
If we do
games.
that, I don't know if we'd
we may not make the concert, right?
Sorry, Zach Brown.
I will say though, just to kind of piggyback, you know, and our parents came up in different situations as well. My father came from Cuba in 61 by himself, and his family stayed behind because of the revolution and because, you know, he was getting to be military age, and they wanted to get him out of there. So he came up here on his own and he was here for a year and a half. The Castro regime threw my grandfather in jail, which delayed them leaving the country, and so luckily we had some cousins that were in Miami, and he stayed there. And then when his father came with his wife and his sister, and actually my Uncle George was the bun in the oven, and my grandfather then went to Connecticut where there was good paying jobs and available jobs, and there was a Cuban some of the Cuban immigrants had found like good factory jobs up there. He ran into a guy in the airport that he could tell the guy was Cuban, and he told him a story. This gentleman, his name was Ed Bello, brought him and his family into his home, helped them get a job, got them on their feet. And then my grandfather passed at a very young age. He was 59 years old. And my Uncle George had Down syndrome. And so it was my grandmother and my dad's sister and himself. And I was already born at that point, but a lot of responsibility fell on him for his brother, for his mother. Plus he was running a business, he was raising a son. We all have a story, but you know, just to kind of piggyback that onto the way that we were raised, you know, it's not an easy way. We had it a lot easier, you know, than these guys did, and so yeah, it's just a different method. But.
Yeah, I mean, your father, my story starts way before that. My grandfather came when he was a teenager, faked his papers. I think he served at the end of World War II and was in the military, and I think in Korea as well. So like the whole Castro thing from my family, it had an impact because there was other family members, but a lot of people, their story started with, you know, they left Cuba with nothing and just landed in Miami, where my dad's side landed in New York. So my dad was, I think, born in the Bronx, you know, and you know how my dad is.
He's got some Bronx.
Yeah,
for sure.
my dad is he's very short, fused, but it was just like, you know, and back then you know you grew up, a lot of these, your dad, my dad, you and we caught a little bit of it, thank God, where we grew up on the street. You know, we all went outside. We played basketball.
Yeah, rode our bikes and
the
neighborhood.
A lot of the lessons that I learned, you know, happened in engagement when there wasn't adult supervision.
Right.
And getting on a baseball field or basketball court, more basketball, roughing each other up, shoving each other, getting pissed off at each other, fighting with each other.
Yep.
And my biggest worry now with Enzo and his development is that you know, I take him to a jiu-jitsu class and he does awesome, but it's a very safe space. And he goes to school, you know, in school, you know, it's a space where he's supervised, and at his age, like, I had already been sneaking off on my bicycle, or getting lost, or, you know, pissing off older kids and somebody smacking me across the face. Shut the fuck up, you fat little fucking annoying fuck. You know, like, that's like me at 8, you know, some 13-year-old, you know, punching me. And having to learn to deal with that and recover from that. I feel that his generation, I'm curious to see how they respond to adversity when it hits.
Yeah, and the adversity is going to be different too. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I live in the mountains of North Carolina, and it's a small town. We know all the police officers, we know everybody there, and we're in the mountains. So he's doing a lot of outdoor stuff, hiking. His mom takes him hiking a lot, and I take him outside, and we do things like that as much as we can. And he's little; he's still 4 years old, but I was having a conversation with somebody just on the phone, and she was kind of having, not worries about her child, but she was kind of having one of those days, and it was just like the love that you have, it hurts sometimes because you worry about this stuff. I mean, I sit at home, and when I'm not with him, or I mean, even now, this whole week, I'm thinking about him and wonder what he's doing. And at school, like you said, what's the first time that somebody hits him or does something? He's a very, very kind soul, my son. And he's like, when he was in preschool, he was the one that was always getting bit.
I remember that.
And he would never bite back. He would, he'd tell the teacher, and so he was very, he was by the book by it. But yeah, what happens when that bite becomes a slap in the face or a punch in the face, or what happens when you fall down? And the kid's never been sick. He's 4 years old. So I mean, I've had it very, very, very easy so far, and so has he. But
yeah, and it's weird. I live in, where I lived. It's not the mountains. We live in a private community where there's tons of kids. I see them because all the parents are driving off in the morning. So I know there's a ton of kids, but I never see them outside.
Right.
Never see them outside.
Well, they're on their PlayStations inside.
And so, Enzo's Paulie, if you will, is a kid named Andres. And
imagine that.
And he hasn't seen Andres in, at least to my knowledge, in at least 2 years.
No.
But their engagement and most of his engagement with his buddies is through his gaming.
Right. Sure.
And he's got friends that he's never met, never seen. There's this relationship happening with all of them that unless I'm sitting there listening to them and I don't understand what they're playing most of the time, he's got emotions invested in these friendships.
Sure. And that's also scary. Right? Because you don't know who's on the other side.
You don't know. No, and most of the time, we've been all pretty good about I listen in. I got all his stuff gamed. My biggest wish for Enzo is I don't have a lot of friends. I mean, I have people that I'm surrounded by, and I have friends and acquaintances, but I think one of the most important things for me in our friendship is I think mankind in general likes to leave a mark in some capacity, and we do that through our families and children and procreating, but our relationships are how people remember us. And I went to 12 or 13 schools, 4 high schools, not including the ones that I had to go to summer school at other schools at. So my youth is it's kind of a mix, and it's very blurry. I never really got to develop a lot of solid relationships, and not, we're talking about technology, but I think for us, our saving grace was we were the beeper generation.
Yeah, you were the first one with the beeper.
We were the first ones with beepers, and beeper codes.
Yep.
Became a way that we could communicate.
Yep. Pull over and use the payphone.
If we had or you would just send the code, and we know where to go, where to meet, and what time. Yeah. But then also when we got older, we had the cell phone generation, and we both had cell phones.
Yep.
The one thing that I wish for me is, especially when we have this time together, because you'll say shit, we're like, hey, do you remember that time? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, and they're like, come on, man, you don't remember that? And I'm like, no, and that happens to me a lot.
Yeah, you're forgetful. I got to keep you in line. Make sure you keep your memories.
My memories it's the hashtag. It's Paul and Andy, and whenever we're together, and we haven't done it yet, but whenever we post a picture that we're together, it's always amazing the response on social media. I don't think at the time we were having a great time, right? I mean, we had a fucking blast. Yeah. I think we did a lot of shit that got away with a lot more than most kids, and got to experience some critical moments in the history of our lives together. My first rock concert was with you. We're gonna go to a concert tonight, and we saw who?
We saw Pearl Jam,
and it was us and Orly.
Yep, Orlando Torres was there. Yeah, he was there. Yeah, Orly, you, me, Orly.
We skipped school.
Some girls, yeah.
Well, the girls weren't with us. We met them there.
Yeah.
Because none of us realized at the time that we had general admission tickets.
Yes, and so we got there first thing in the morning.
Because we thought, we're gonna get there early, and we're gonna get front row. We got there like at 6, 7 in the morning.
Real early.
Yeah. In downtown Miami, Florida.
Took the metro rail in. We parked the car at Danny Oliveira's house. Jumped on the metro rail.
See, we took the metro rail? See, I don't remember that.
Yeah, because we didn't know where to park, or I don't know what the story was.
Or maybe we didn't have enough money to pay for parking.
It could have been that too.
Easier to just take the metro rail.
Tickets were like $19. Think about that.
Were they $19?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I have the ticket somewhere.
The thing that concert in particular for the band, it was like they had set up this tour already, but by the time they got to the Miami concert, it seems like they just had exploded, and the venue was not was not ready for the influx.
Yeah, it was an amphitheater. And
how many people?
I don't know, man, 10,000 maybe?
Maybe it holds 10,000, and there was something like 50,000 people showed up in the street.
There were people outside and stuff. Yeah, it was a big deal.
A riot broke out.
Yeah, I know. We pulled the. So what happened is we had in the front. So we were in general admission, but the general admission was the lawn.
Right.
And then there were rows of seats.
Right.
And I think King's X opened for them.
Yep.
And we weren't big King's X fans, but they were a good band. But in the middle of it, we ended up right in the middle, center stage, and there's a fence between the rows. A chain link, right? That they had just put up. So, for the event, and so.
And the fence is to separate. The amphitheater is there's seats, but they're made out of concrete or cement.
Or wood, something,
yeah. And they're fixed.
Yeah, it's like a half moon kind of.
So like all the special people got to go there, and then they put a fence.
Right.
And we thought for weeks and for 12 hours of sitting outside on concrete that we were going to have the ability to be in the front. Yeah. And then we learned we were fenced in. Yeah,
like steerage. And so a little bit of angst started, especially with us because we were the first people in line.
I was pissed.
And so as King's X was playing, there was still about 15, 20 rows down in front and on the other side of the fence that were open. I'm sure those people were just going to get to the concert later. And we were kind of on the fence and started shaking the fence, and then we realized we could kind of reach the top of the fence. And so we grabbed the top of the fence and started pulling it. And then somebody next to me started pulling it, and the next guy over there started pulling it, and all of a sudden everybody pulled the fence down. And then there was a rail, which is easy to jump. We were like 15, 16 years old. And then we hopped the rail and stormed the castle. And we ended up probably about, 15 rows back maybe.
I felt like we were closer.
It could be, man. I
think it was like I felt like we were like 15 feet from the stage.
Yeah. We were close. Yeah, it was close. It was a great concert. It rained. People were going crazy. There was a feather in the air. And then it started to rain, and then I think Eddie Vedder came out and started singing "Release Me," maybe, in the rain, kind of, and then the whole crowd just kind of chilled out, and one of the best concerts of my life, man. I've been to some good ones. That one was pretty awesome.
Especially because you were young, and it's a defining moment.
Yeah. And there was no beer involved. There was not. I mean, we sat there smoking cigarettes, and
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was. It was. We were just kids wanting to go see our band.
Yep. It was good. It was fun.
They rushed the stage. People, like I said, it was a small venue. Pearl Jam had exploded, and then thousands of people were just in the street. And I remember when we were up against that fence, if you turned around, it was just a sea of people.
That's right.
Beyond the amphitheater, outside.
Yeah, because it connected to the Bayside as well. So they had all those, kind of aisleways that would lead in. So it was, yeah.
People were like, thousands of people were in the wings. I mean, it got, in hindsight, looking back on it now, I mean, it was dangerous. We could have been fucking hurt. We could have been killed. We could have hurt somebody.
The little girl that was next to me, she was like 5'0", and then when everybody started storming, I jumped over the rails, and then I looked back. I grabbed her by the belt and just got her little butt over the rail, and then we just ran and rushed the front. The front, yeah, it was fun. We made the paper the next day.
I mean, it was national news.
It was big time, yeah. Well, and then Pearl Jam went on the war against Ticketmaster after that, and they stopped touring for a while, so we got it in at the right time. 10 was the album. That was huge, man. That was freshman year.
I think we were the first ones to hear, was it like Animal or? Corduroy?
It was one. No, we looked it up. Remember, you found the actual audio of that
they
concert.
Have it. Yeah. You can buy it now.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was one that they had never played before. Spin the Black Circle.
Yeah.
I can't remember. We'd have to look at it. Corduroy?
Corduroy, I thought it was.
Yeah, it could be, man. Yeah, you might be right.
They played like their first, at least 4 or 5 songs. They were all the ballads, and they were just trying to get everybody to calm down.
They did it.
I mean, and it gives me goosebumps to think about it.
The same, dude. Yeah.
Because it was the first time like I was in there. We're in the madness, and Eddie Vedder and the band just had complete control.
Absolutely.
Of everybody.
Yeah.
And it was just powerful for me to watch that. And Pearl Jam, through its evolution, I have all the albums. There's albums that I like, some less than others, but it's basically what I listen to all the time in the car. Now I listen to a little bit more of country music because Paul's gotten me on some country tracks. But Pearl Jam did something that was brilliant, and they recorded all of their shows all the time, live. And then we grew up with bands with like Guns N' Roses. You couldn't take their picture. You couldn't record. They didn't want to record anything. Mm-hmm. And now like they got basically those 4 or 5 albums, and there's nothing else. And Pearl Jam, they got a radio station. If you were at the April or the March whatever concert in 1994, you can go to their website and like download the album that was recorded live from the moment when you were there. And that goes for every show that they've ever done.
Well, and on the XM too, they play random shows. So it's kind of cool, like if one of those shows pops up that you went to, you know.
Yeah,
and they play it from all their shows all over the world. It's pretty great.
And from that, especially when I started creating content, sometimes I'm always like, you know, the content might seem miscellaneous now, but I'm always telling people like create content if you're in that space and you need. You know, I need to be in that space. Create content, put it out there because you never know. You might have 20 people coming to watch you speak, and the week before something you said hit and it goes viral and 20 people turn into 20,000.
Right.
And it's important, you know, with having you be here today because we really don't have to be able to capture this moment because we're in Scottsdale,
Arizona.
And we're going to go to a rock concert tonight. We're going to see
the Zac Brown Band.
And
last show of the tour.
See
if there's a fence for us to tear down.
No.
Just kidding.
Yeah, no, step aside. Go ahead.
No, we got good seats.
We got good seats.
We can afford seats.
We hit that point in our lives where it's like, you know, we're gonna get there late.
Yeah.
We'll pay the extra money for like the little VIP cocktail section over here. Yeah. The private bathroom.
And we're still going to be in the 15th row. We just paid for our tickets.
Toes in the sand. It's important for me because I wanted to have something that I could share, not only look back on, but share with my wife, Rebecca, and Enzo.
I was going to say the same thing. It's also like photographs. Like we had photographs growing up, you know, like this is when you and I are long gone. My kid, your kid, I mean, my kid's 4 right now. One day my kid's going to be able to see this and, you know. Andy had to talk me into it. I almost said I didn't want to do it, but I'm glad we are, man.
It took 3 days. It took 3 days to get him on here.
I hadn't seen you. We had to hang out. Had a good time. Scottsdale, Arizona. Fun time.
What's the difference between our relationship and, I mean, and I have other friends that are great friends, but there's a difference. What do you think that difference is?
Well, man, I'm an only child, dude. You're my bro, man. And look, when I was young, I moved around, as we talked about, and I know that you went to all those different schools, and then you have to kind of be a chameleon, and you have to be able to fall into things, and you know, and be able to adapt to situations. I settled in, you know, after that. You still jumped around, but you know, you played sports and stuff, and you were always good at what you did. But you lived down the street from me. We were just too. We never hung out with the grupitos, as they said, the groups, you know, like, and I'm great friends with a lot of people, but they roll like 25 deep, and it's just. That was never our scene, you know. We were kind of like the solo artist, and
we'd pop in,
pop out,
and we could hang out with everybody.
Sure, yeah,
we could hang out, and we still do.
But there was a lot more times that we just said, "Hey, let's go do this." And we also, with that being said, and like what you had said, how we could kind of jump around and stay the night out and do all those kind of things. We did a lot of things when we were 14, 15, 16 that none of our classmates or any of our friends were doing, and so.
And we go to go to the clubs and hang out with.
We would run with older crowds too. Like we would hang out with older people.
Exactly.
You know?
What were the guys from the Miami Dolphins? How did we know?
Oh yeah, Zach Thomas.
Yeah, and, like we end up in like a VIP section with Zach Thomas.
Man. If we start talking about VIP sections and famous people that we've hung out with, it's just and then that became normal to us. You know? It's I don't know how we did it, but I still do it. You still do it. We've been doing it all. It's a gift. I don't know what to tell you.
The thing is that, you know, my dad is, he's super like that. My dad, for me, one of the things, he didn't say it to me, but I heard it later in life, and one of the things that's great about my dad is he can walk among kings and peasants, man, and not lose that common touch. Like he's good at around anyone.
I think we're the same though. We've slithered with the snakes and we've soared with the eagles and everything in between, my man.
I know. It's like yesterday, like if you look at how we've bounced around, you know, we started out partying at the W Hotel, which is its own, you know, vibe, and we ended up at a couple dive bars in between, and we ended up at that restaurant last night, which was awesome, and that had its own crowd. Yeah. And we parted ways for a little bit because I had to go karaoke. My man here doesn't karaoke.
I also go to sleep at 10.
And he goes to sleep
I'm
at 10.
on East Coast time, so 10 actually is 12 for me, so you gotta...
And I like to people watch. But Enzo, I tell Enzo all the time, you know, he's super smart. He's super tall. He's a handsome kid. And one of the best things that his teachers tell me is that he's thoughtful, very kind, very sweet, polite.
Yep.
And I'm like, if you can, and he's bright. And I'm like, all of those characteristics aligned with, he's gonna be like at least 6'3". He's gonna be a handsome kid. If you can do all that and work all that together and you have all those tools, a lot of doors will open up. Yep. You know, a lot of doors will open up, especially when you understand that, just like Eddie Vedder, there's a power in that. You know, wherever we go, it doesn't matter where we are. Wherever we go, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we talked about that. We try to hook up every once in a while, and it's like, who cares where we go?
Yeah.
Pick it. You know, you come out east one year, I'll go out west the next year, and it doesn't matter where we go. I don't even know.
The destination isn't really. We make the destination.
Excuse me.
For me, and one of the things that I have always loved about you as we've gotten older is you've always evolved, taken your own risks, made big decisions, and have reinvented yourself several times over. I guess what I'm getting at is a lot of people stay, and we both left.
Yep.
And not only did we both leave, but I think you more than I have gone to places, built something, and then moved on.
Yeah. And
that takes a lot of balls.
Yeah, you know, life circumstances and not really, you know, I mean, I've been where I am now 6 years, but I traveled around for over the last 15 years. I've traveled around a little bit. I've had different homes and great opportunities, and more that they produced other opportunities, which brought me to other places, and it's just part of the ride, man. Got to enjoy it, you know?
Yeah. You know, I think people will do it once or twice, but, you know, you've done it. I mean, I moved to Los Angeles when I was like 24, 23, 24, somewhere there. You know, and basically, I've lived in a bunch of places, but I've lived in LA, and it's been 18 years. Yeah. But I think over the course of, you know, maybe the last 15 years for you, you've been in
Connecticut, New York,
Atlanta,
and
now you're in North
Carolina.
Yeah. And you make it look so easy.
It's not. But you just got to trust yourself and trust your instincts and do the things that make you happy, and don't. When I make those kind of decisions, I never feel pressured into them. An opportunity arises, something happens, something comes up, somebody starts a new business, a new company's looking for you, or whatever it may be. Yeah, you just gotta go for it. You know, gotta do it.
Why do you think that it's easier for you to do that? What did you?
I don't know if it's easier for me. I just think I don't. Once you jump once, jumping the rest of the time it's not as hard. You know, the first time that you make the move. I mean, I you know, once I got to Miami, I was there 8 years old till I was probably 30, 31, and you know, Miami, I love Miami. It's a fantastic city. I was just there recently in April, and I hadn't been there in a little while. It's changed, it's evolved. So I can see how a lot of people, you know, stay in their hometowns, especially in this day and age, you know, because it's an ever-evolving, breathing city, and it's doing fantastic. It's beautiful. But I kind of like that, you know, like what you just said. We come out here, we've met the entire city here, it feels like, in the last 3 days, and I like that challenge. I like to go somewhere new. I like to take the tricks that I've learned in other places and bring them to a new pond. You know, it's fun, because then the stories we have, you know, people love to hear the stories, like what we're doing right now. I talk to people. Now I'm in this small mountain town. I tell some of these people the things that I've done, the people that I've hung out with, and the things that I've seen, and they freak out. And I love seeing that expression on their life, on their face. You know, it's fun. And half the time they think I'm full of it, you know, and I'm like, look, this story's real. And sometimes I'll have to corroborate it with somebody. Andy, tell them about this time, or I'll call Junior, or I'll call, you know, whoever I was doing something with. And so yeah, I like that. I enjoy that. I like meeting new people. I like seeing how the people in New York were compared to the people in Atlanta, compared to the people in Miami. Now I'm in this little mountain town that has 1,000 people, but a big population that comes in with second homes. And yeah, I like that ever-changing, evolving feel of life.
Mixing it up.
Yeah, I like to mix it up, man. I do. It's you know, it's just what I do. It's what you do. It's what we do.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's not for everybody, you know. Some people stay in their circles, and that's cool.
Yeah.
That's great, you know. You know.
I've had some friends tell me, you know, how do I sleep not knowing where my next paycheck is going to come from, you know, and they like the corporate structure, corporate environment. Yep. My friend Raul one day was like, look, I know what I'm doing now. I know what I'm doing in 5 years. I know I'm going to be in this management. Yeah. I've got all that figured out. And it gives him that like sense of security that he needs to live his life. You've known me since I was a kid, and I mean, how many jobs did I just get fired?
Quite a few.
Quite a few. Quite a few.
Yeah.
You know, it's carried on into my defiant spirit. You know, I'm a lot more responsible today. But I mean, I've been known to walk into a shift and say, no, not today. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And Rebecca is very disciplined, and she's very, you know, she takes notes. She's punctual. She's responsible. She's been taking care of herself since she was 18 years old. And when we first started dating, I was catering a party or something, and I got to the party. I got lost. I got there a few minutes late, and it was the first time I was working for this catering company. And like, I got there late. The guy made a comment, rightfully so. I'm late. I apologize. I'm listening to the instruction given, and then for like every opportunity he had to make a little snarky ass remark, you know, don't be like Handsome over here, and you know, I hope Handsome, you know, works as good as he looks, or some shit like that. And I'm like, you know what, dude? Like, I just started dating Rebecca. I'm like, I got this super hot girlfriend, dude, who's sitting at home right now. And I just, like, in the middle of the speech, I just turned around and walked away. And the guy's like, where are you going? Where are you going? And I just kept going. I just kept going. And then, like, my phone, like, they're texting me, where are you, coming back? And I'm like, you know, and I blocked the number. And I went about my day, you know, because I'm like, yeah, no, I don't need this shit. You know, I showed up. And Rebecca was like, you're just leaving? Did you tell me you're leaving? I'm like, no. And it was just blowing her mind. She's like, how could you do that? And I think that's one of the dark sides of me, is I don't need closure.
I would agree. When you walk away from something, you walk away. You do. I mean, it's, and that's on every level. I mean, you know, personally, professionally, athletically, you know what I mean? Like, when you're done, you're done. Like, you are. It's, you know, it's quite impressive.
What was your perspective when I quit baseball? How did you see it?
Well, I mean, you and I spoke a lot. We were good friends. I mean, at that point, we were already brothers, man. So I believe my advice to you was that if it's not what you want to do, don't do it. But you're really, really good at what you do. And when you see somebody that you were better than doing it, I don't want to hear that you were better than that person, or what you could have been, or what you could have done. I think that was my advice to you. I said, if you're done, then you're done. But But I also told you you had a lot of talent, man. I hate playing catch with you. It was the worst. My hand would always be bruised up, man. So it was, and you could swing the bat, man. You had a lot of talent. You were really, really good. But your heart wasn't in it, and I knew it wasn't. So my advice was that it was do what you feel, but don't look back and be that guy.
Right.
Don't Al Bundy it, man.
Yeah. Don't poke high it.
Yeah.
Well, it's great because like I don't. When I get together with some of those guys and baseball comes up, it just feels like unless you were there at that time with me, nobody else knows that I play or played or was good enough.
Did more than play, man.
Or was good enough. And
you were the top player on most of the teams that you were on. You know what I mean? And you played on some good teams.
So it took me like 15 years to even get back in baseball and recreationally. I wouldn't even play on softball teams, because I would be surrounded by those people, and I was still too young where guys were still maybe training or wanting to try to make it or telling those stories. So I literally just stopped playing baseball forever, until I think Enzo came into the picture, and I just wanted to be able to play catch with my kid.
Yes, sir.
Now I play, we play softball Wednesday nights, Entity, Mortgage, Mayhem. Apparently we're in first place this season, but I'm out on the field and I still feel like I'm 17 years old and I throw the ball.
Oh, I'm sure.
Super hard. I hit the ball super hard. I run. I'm faster than I was then, for sure.
Definitely.
And oddly, there's the ego in me kicks in and I think to myself, I could probably walk on to a team. I could probably walk on. The rookie. I had this kid named Troy Lippis. He's podcast 3. He's going to be, I think, 3. He's training for the U.S. Olympic team to do the rings. And he's, 20 or 21. And we're just going back and forth about working out and training. And I think I told him, I said, I started asking him, like, do you know about college eligibility if you play professional or not? And he's like, I think if you've never played, you could just play. And what was going on in the back of my mind is, I wonder if I could just go to College of the Canyons down the street, right. Take a few classes. I'm smart enough now and I have the discipline now to probably get through a 50-minute humanities class.
Right.
And then just kind of walk on the team and just see what happens. See what happens.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, I know. I think the thing is, I'm still young enough.
It's a commitment level, though, if you make it.
Yeah. Well,
now you got classes and you got games.
You got classes
and practice.
I got practice, and got practice. What are you doing? We're going to Northern California to play the Torpedoes.
Right.
Yeah. Martinez coming to the plate. Some of the people that I'm around now, I'm older than their fathers, which is also trippy.
Yeah.
And you were saying that you're going to be, you're an older dad. Rebecca and I are going to start trying next year, so I'll be 47.
I see that pause.
Are we the same 47 that the generation before is are we the same 47s our dads were? I feel like our dads were so much older at 47 or 46 than we were.
I believe so, yeah. I'm trying to think. My dad's 72 now.
I think this is when your dad...
22 years ago, so yeah.
Because your dad did the telecommunications business. Then he got into oil, right?
No. He did telecommunications, and then what he ended up doing was get into the cigar business.
Cigars. Okay.
Yeah, he was the CFO and a part owner of Oliva Cigars, which sold a couple years back. So, this is a guy who went to Villanova and did all these different things and had a path, and he went to Thunderbird University, which is a great school out here actually in Arizona. Big international business school, and he did that for many years. But yeah, he found his nest egg and his where he ended up was at the end of his career, and it was in something that had nothing to do with what he knew, but he was a businessman and a financial guy. So yeah, he did a lot of good work over there, and I was proud of him. He's proud of himself. He's a good dude.
What about Miss Marlene?
Miss Marlene is my mom, and she's the best. I love my mom. She's awesome. Talk to her quite often. my dad and her met in high school, and so she didn't go to college. She ended up going to like a secretary school, and then ended up running the offices of my father's companies. Yeah, she's so sweet. You know, my mom, you know, she loves everybody. There was always, you know, Nutty Buddies and oatmeal cookies in my house, and we could always go there and raid the fridge. And you know, she's
mayonnaise potato chip sandwiches at your house.
Yeah, right, exactly. Soft batch cookies.
Those were good.
They were. But yeah, no, she's great. She's one of the strongest people I know. She about 18 years ago, I guess now, 2006. So yeah, 16 years ago, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and
it was bad.
It was bad. She had a double mastectomy, but she fought like hell, and she had a great attitude every morning when she woke up. You know, we shaved each other's heads at the time and went through all of that. That was one of the darkest, most hurtful times of my life, because nobody wants to lose a parent, you know. But she fought her butt off and she beat it, and she's 16, 17 years now a survivor. She's 72 years old. My dad finally retired. He bought her a beautiful home in New Smyrna Beach that they love. They have a second condo up in the mountains where I live, and so she loves it. You know, my dad's playing golf 3 or 4 times a week in both places, because our weather during the summer is 72 degrees. In New Smyrna during the winter time, it's 72, 78 degrees, and she loves both houses. She's got a grandson, which she always wanted. I know she wants a granddaughter as well, but unfortunately I'm single right now, so she may have to wait.
Single?
But yeah, newly single. But no, she's great. She's awesome. She's a great spirit. She's a kind-hearted person. She's very optimistic. Yeah, man, she's my mom. Love her.
Yeah, she let me in your house.
Yeah, all the time.
There's a lot of people that.
No, not everybody made it. But you were always had a dinner place at my house if you wanted it, man.
Yeah, no, and I did.
She watched all your antics too.
Yeah. Well, I also took a few bullets for you too.
You did. You did. You did.
I would like. I'll never forget that. Shit.
The gang.
Was it a? I think you beeped. It was. I think you beeped me. I think you paged me on a beeper, and then I called you, or something from the house, and it was. I've only gotten this type of phone call one other time in my life, but this one was. It was like, hey, my parents are coming over to your house. And I'm like, okay, they're gonna talk to your dad. This is what happened.
That sounds about right.
And I was like, what happened? There was a gang. You needed my help, so I had to take the car in the middle of the night and to save you, and because they were gonna stab you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Just take it, man. Just take it.
You took it.
And my dad, you know, my dad and my stepmom, like my dad knocks on my door, says, get my ass out there. And I'm like, and your parents and my parents, in 30 years of friendship, like my parents and my dad and your dad, like they, for whatever reason, they never like hit it off, right? So I mean, they associated because they, you know, we were neighbors, but like I've never had your parents in my house,
right?
And there they are. And of course,
talking to your dad about the gang violence that you're getting into.
And talking to my dad about the gang violence. And I just remember, like, I already, you know, your parents, they were always kind of, you know, iffy with me. You know, they were kind to me. No, but like, you know,
they always ask about you.
I was like, but, you know, I always got into a little bit of trouble here and there. Yeah, and I almost killed you.
Yeah, we had that. Once. A couple other things too, but yeah. I took some shrapnel too, my man.
But this day, dude, your parents sitting there in my living room telling my fucking dad that a gang and this and that.
No, so this is what I didn't expect them to go to your house.
You went too far.
No, I didn't. It was a very, very short comment, and I thought it was a home run. I thought it was going to nail, and it was going to be done with, and say, yeah, you're right. Thank God Andy's okay. So I end up coming home. I take the car. The house is supposed to be nobody at the house, which felt like a setup. I was 15. I went joyriding. I don't even know how you didn't make it. I think I took some girl out or something like that. And I had left the lights on. And then when I come back, the lights are off. And my grandmother, who wasn't supposed to be there, Rose was sitting on the doorstep. And I pull in to the half moon, and I'm like, oh no. And then So my parents come back, they were out of town, so they come back the next day and they're like, what in the hell is going on, blah, blah, blah. And I said, look, this is what happened. I said, Andy was out somewhere, and you know, Andy, he was talking to some girl, or he was out there, you know, doing what Andy does, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then these gang guys started getting into it with him. And he called me and said, man, I need help. And I said, Mom, Dad, how would I have helped? How would I have felt if something would have happened to my friend Andy? I had to go. That's it. You know, everything's fine, but I had to go. And they were like, okay, no problem. We're gonna go down the street. I was like, well, lock the door, turn the lights off. This is what happened. But that was the story. I thought it was gonna be a shut case. Okay, makes sense. Don't do it again. We're gonna start hiding the keys until you get your license.
I think it was like you told them though that somebody they wanted like to stab me or something.
I don't know if I said all that. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember, and man. For me, it was a quick one. I had already thought about it because I had the night to think about it, about what I was gonna say. Yeah. And then, you know, at that point you're young, so you're like, that sounds good, man.
Well, it was a hell of totally maybe reasonable. You should have moved out to Hollywood with that performance. They were moved enough to go down the street.
My eye, I may have had a little bit of watering in my eye, like just as I was telling them, you know, just to kind of get it, just to really sell it. And I mean, obviously I sold it. Either that or they just called my bluff. It was one or the other.
I think they fucked us both is what they
I know, we both got grounded.
Yeah, I got grounded for 2 weeks.
I remember.
Like, I got grounded for something that I actually didn't do.
I know.
I had nothing to do with. I know what they were talking about.
That is so funny. I forgot all about that, dude.
Oh, I didn't. I was like 2 weeks, and it was like when Lizzie had just come into my life. So Lizzie was very disciplined. So like I served all of those 2 weeks. Yeah.
Breakfast dinner under the door.
But I'm glad you were concerned for my well-being, and it's what we do. We take care of each other.
This door swings both ways, man. We got other stories that are you put me into some predicaments yourself.
I did.
None quite as funny as that.
That one was pretty good. That one was pretty good. I feel like if I can go on, and you know,
we don't want to divulge too much information either.
Well, I think that hopefully, you know, we'll have more opportunities to maybe if you like doing this, where we can put this down in other situations. I wanted to ask you this last question. Where we are in our lives now is not necessarily the way, for me personally, you know, where I envisioned it. And over the years, you've seen me like be a mess, be poor. Not at my best, not my best person. And I've gotten to a place now where I'm happy and I'm doing all right, and I can see a path ahead of me. Do you think, and this is something somebody asked me, you know, there's other people maybe that were more disciplined, they went to school, they got good grades, they got their jobs, they got their things, they got their lives, you know, and maybe they're, you know, much further ahead professionally or you know, in their lives. I hear that. But I would never give up. I would never trade.
Your path?
No, as bad as it was, it's been fucking great.
It's made you who you are, man.
It's made me great. And
their paths have also made them who they are.
Yeah, everybody goes through shit, certainly. Yeah. Everybody goes through shit, and everybody evolves. But sometimes, like, when things are hard, you know, you start to doubt yourself. And I know for me, you know, there was a lot of days, months and years where I doubted myself. But I don't think that you, and much like my father, and maybe that's why I adore you so much. You know, my father had never given me the sense that he ever. My dad said to me this. He said, "I've been in a lot of tight spots, but I never felt fucked, and I always believed that I would figure it out and get out of it." I always felt from you like you never ever gave me that sense of that you were fucked or you doubted yourself.
Listen, I'm here. That's just, I never have. And I've been in bad situations too, financially, personally, all those things. But no, yeah, I never do. Even when things are really, really hard, it's just like what I said about my mom. She had the right attitude. She knew that she was going to beat it. She got through it, you know, and that came at a really good time in my life. I left Miami a couple years after that, once I knew that she was okay. But even before that, like, you know, there were days where, am I going to be able to pay the rent? Am I going to be able to do this and do that? I'll figure it out, man. Like, we're smart enough, we're capable, and not you know, we have friends that we can lean on and people that we can speak to, and you know, kind of a board of directors of friends and family, and that can help us, man. So Yeah, and I don't know. I know you had some dark times, man, but I never thought that you were like at that point, man. I mean, I knew you were gonna find your way, and you knew that you could always call me if you needed something, man. Yeah, man, you just got to keep your head up. That's it. Keep your head up and believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, no one's gonna believe in you. You know what I mean? And you don't get to do all the shit that we've done in our lives by not taking risks and thinking, oh my God, I can't. You know, if you're scared to go over there, then you're not going to get what's at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? What is it? The road, the unbeaten path. You know, the
road less traveled.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, man. How bad could it get?
Yeah, and
we have connections. We're smart.
Yeah,
I mean,
we got love.
We got love.
We got family.
What I mean? Yeah.
A lot of people have those things sometimes, but they don't even see it. I will say that, you know, I probably, and this is what I was going to say earlier about Enzo and his buddy Andres, and you know, Enzo's a lot like me. He kind of, you know, like last night, you know, we were having dinner, we were having a great time. You wanted to go do something, I wanted to go do something else. We're good enough to part ways. Yeah. Rebecca didn't understand that. She's like, but you guys are there to be together, and I'm like, yeah, but we were together, and then we wanted to do something different. I mean, we're big boys. Yeah. You know, I wanted to go karaoke. He wanted to go see some other places. I think the most important, besides Enzo finding love and a great partnership, I wish him more that he needs to find his Polly. Yeah. You know, and
well, go pick up Andres.
What's that?
I said, go pick up Andres and take him on a play date.
No,
man.
Yeah, and you know they'll do that too. But I mean, yeah, I that's like one of my biggest wishes for him. It's like, you know, when he has that other person that he can bounce ideas off, you know, because even though, like, you know, we're both very different in our professions and that our tastes. We were joking, you know, on this trip, like, we've never fought over a girl. No. You know, we've never had any issues. We had our testosterone moments where we like got mad at each other, fought each other, tried to run you over with the car.
Yeah, I remember that.
What was the shrapnel? You said there was, or you just meant like in?
Well, there was the time you almost killed me, and the time that we ended up in that cold place, and you got me back for that one. That's how I just wanted to make. We can go over that another time, but we have to get our story straight. But,
but I think that my friendship with you got, you know, it's kind of like my guide. And after I lose, you know, my parents, you know, obviously my relationship with Rebecca is important and everything, but, like, you know, when my parents are gone, and you know, what do I have left, right? I'm stuck with you. Yeah,
you definitely are. And Lennox, if something happens to me.
No, and the thing is, it's stupid how it's like something that's super, it didn't even need to be said.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know, like, anything ever happened to you, like, you know, that's my kid.
Yeah, well, when I was dropping him off with his mom on the way here, I told him, I said, listen, you know, Daddy loves you, Daddy's always going to be here for you as long as he can, as long as God wishes, but if not, your Uncle Andy is your guy, just so you know. So, yeah, so it's, I want to make sure he understands that, like, when we call, you know, I make sure he says hi to you and stuff like that. And, you know, I didn't have a lot of chance to I know Enzo, obviously, but I didn't have a lot of chance to hang out with him as he was growing up, just because I was going through my craziness. But yeah, man, we got each other's back no matter what, dude. I mean, that's for sure. And I mean, you know, you're very lucky to have, you know, you and I have both been married a couple times, and you're very lucky to have found your partner, because a lot of you coming together, I've seen it since you've been with her, and it didn't start off, you know, where you guys have come from when you started off to where you are now. I mean, you're night and day, my man, and I know that you give a lot of love and show a lot of respect and thankfulness to Rebecca and vice versa, and yeah, you got her too.
Yeah, and I guess
when you guys have me, then she may not like it. Nah, it's the same though, man. Like, I'm an only child, and I have my closest friends and people I can count on one hand, probably. I mean, honestly, such is life though, man. Yeah,
but the people, you know, even the people that, even when our old friends pop in, and a lot of people visit you up in Banner Elk, they're always, you left a really good impression on everybody. Like, everybody always liked you, and I think people.
Likeable guy.
Yeah, and I always and you know, and I always tell people, you know, people like me better when they find out that I'm with Rebecca. During growing up in high school in those days, I think people tolerated me more because we were friends, because you were my friend. Yeah. You know, because I had a nice way of Yeah, I get chip at. I get pissed off a few people.
And you did.
Paul would come in and smooth it out. Nah, it's just Andy. That's just Martinez. You got to get to know him a little bit. Yeah. You got to get to know him a little bit.
The first 20 minutes are amazing.
Yeah.
After those 20 minutes, you get a little shaky.
Yeah.
Not a good wingman. Not a good wingman.
You know. But, you know, I re-engage. You know, maybe not the best wingman. You know, what was it, Matt?
Back then you weren't, yeah. But you're cool now, man. You're chill. Not a wingman, but you know what I mean? Like, it's, you don't, no, you're
No,
you're not pissing people off anymore, man. I mean, I've seen you in action over the last couple of days, man.
Yeah. Well, when I'm about to, I catch it now and I just walk away.
Yeah, I see you. I see you. I know.
Ooh, that's gonna be that's a good one.
I don't come to find you. I just wait for you to come back. Oh, where'd your friend go? Oh, don't worry about him. He's there.
Give him a minute. Just give him a minute.
You'll be like mid-conversation with this guy the other day, and you just kind of like walked away. And I'm just like, don't worry, man, he's coming back. He'll say bye if he's leaving.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sure we've gone over the hour mark, and I know we're hungry, and we're gonna go out and we're gonna go see Zach Brown tonight.
For sure, man.
I'm not really clear on if I were to put a word over or be able to describe in the description what this podcast is.
Yeah, I don't either.
The focus of it. But if there's one thing that I say all the time, and I hope people will get from this, is that your relationships are super important, and the people that are good to you throughout the history of your life and the course of your life, and the people that are present, just like, you know, he said, you know, I've been married a few times, and a lot of it really wasn't the women, it was me.
Me too.
You know, it was me. It took somebody very special to sort of make me understand that, you know, I need to do the work for me to make this work. And then, you know, that's Rebecca, but you've also been really good at always keeping me kind of in check, so to speak.
I do my best.
Yeah,
I got to keep myself in check. That's what my issue is, especially in relationships. But that's a difference. That's a story for another time.
Yeah, it is. But you know, we're both always trying to get better, and I know that you are too. And
well, we acknowledge our faults. I think, man. I'm not scared to say that I'm
guilty.
When I do, I'm guilty. This is what I did. This was my role. It's not a one-sided. It's never one-sided. It's always two people in relationships, or, you know, even in business and anything else. But, you know, you have to learn your faults. You know, if you get into an argument with your spouse or with your girlfriend or with your significant other, know your part in it. You know what I mean? If you raised your voice, or that was, you could have controlled that. You know, there's things that you could have done, and there's things that they could have done. So I do my best to try to learn from situations, every situation that I'm in that feels uncomfortable, and then just do my best to not do it again, and don't repeat it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do.
No, and sometimes you do, and when you make the same mistake, you know, I don't want to say make the same mistake over and over again, but if you do that, then you gotta, you know, that's something that needs to get looked at. But recovery from mistakes, what pisses me off really is, it's not that you made a mistake, it's what you did after the mistake.
Right.
You know, if you fuck something up, don't hide it.
Right.
Just tell me, hey, I fucked this up, because let me get to the point where we fix it.
Right. Well, and then that's how the trust comes into play, and how all those kind of things, you know? That's how trust is built, you know?
Yeah, let's just fucking fix the problem. And I don't get mad at, you know, people that work with me. You know, I don't lose my temper. I lose my temper and I don't lose my temper, I ghost people.
Right.
You know, like that other person I was telling you that I haven't talked to him, I'm like, I have nothing to say. Yeah. You know, you're dead to me.
Yeah.
You're dead to me. But to me, like, one of the great things is, you know, recovery and how people treat people. I can never be around somebody that treats a person like shit.
No, of course, yeah. We have human rights and respect, and you need to respect everybody. I mean, we've never been like that, though. We weren't bullies. We were never. Yeah, because you need respect. That's it. Yeah. You give what you get.
I mean, I think
or get what you give, rather.
The service industry, you know, even the way that we are with people, like I said, you know, walk among kings and not lose the common touch. We sit at, you know, we go to the bar, the fancy restaurant. You know, it's like you introduce yourself to the bartender. You say hello. Yeah. You know, you get their name.
Yep.
You address by their name.
Respect them.
You know, and then you can talk to the person next to you. Yep. You know, who's a patron. And have, you know, the dual engagement between somebody that, you know, is in a service position, and, you know, somebody else that's a patron, and they might be on opposite spectrums of the economic scale, but you treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
and I tell this to my son all the time. I said, who's a big strong boy? He says, I'm a big strong boy, Dad. What do the big strong boys do? Take care of the little guys.
Yeah, I say it to my son all the time, man.
Yeah. You know, and I'm never was good at, like I can, and you know, I mean, I can get pushed around. You know, you can push me, you can say shit about me. I'm used to all that stuff. But if I see you wronging somebody,
yeah, you always stepped in when somebody else was.
You know, to me that I'll go. You know, that's how I go dark.
Yep.
And I start singing my Jim Morrison songs, and
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I don't put up for it. I don't put up with it. You might as well pick on me if you want to pick on somebody, but don't pick on somebody that's smaller than you or weaker than you or in a different economic situation than you. I mean, respect, just human respect, and that's why life comes at us, because, you know, so we can come back to where are we again? Scottsdale, and we got like 30 friends. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so it's you know, and then, you know, just leave a little piece of yourself and be good and kind and honest. And yeah, I think just to piggyback on what you were saying, I mean, relationships are the best part of life. I mean, I've had money, I've been poor, just like this, all that we've been talking about, but the relationships never change. You know what I mean? As long as you keep yourself true to yourself and you respect the other person for who they are, that's what life's about, right? I mean, it's all energy just interacting with each other. The rest is all crap that they tell us we need and then you know, we want some of it, but the relationships, I mean, no matter what happens, and that's just, I found the answer of, you know, you're like, how do you think that you've never been scared to make a move or ever felt like you were gonna be in trouble or, you know, never were worried about something? And it's because I have my relationships. Like, that's why I'm never, even when my back's against the wall, that's why I'm never worried, because I can do it and my relationships will pull me through, whether it's an encouraging word, whether it's, you know, putting a hand out, I mean, whatever it may be, you know. And I've done things for others too. I mean, it's in my career especially, you know, I've taken people that were making $10, $11 as cooks and had them all the way to where they're GMs now. I had a 40th birthday party a couple years back, and I'm in this little town in the middle of North Carolina. It's really hard to get to. The closest airport's an hour and a half away. I had like 150 people at my party. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you weren't there.
No.
I know you couldn't.
No, I wasn't. I couldn't make it.
Yeah,
because I was broke
I mean,
or something.
You know, but those relationships, man, you know, some of those people worked for me, dude. Like, it's insane. So
I want to, you never know, and you're right. That's you know what, that's the word you came up with, and I was saying, and I don't know exactly what the point is. Relationships, and these are maybe great points for nobody else, but for our boys. It's easy, you know, somebody doesn't need to tell me, I don't need to know more about somebody other than they're your friend. You know, if you got a buddy coming to LA and you say, hey, take care of my guy, it's like dumb. And
I would never send you anybody who.
but it's because I know who you are, of course, and then I know the quality and the expectation that you have for the people that you surround yourself with. The older we get, and that's one lesson that I hope, I wish if I could go back in my life, I spent a lot of energy on people that I shouldn't have put my energy in.
You're ain't lying, man. Me too.
And sometimes now, like and Rebecca's gotten really. At the beginning, she had a tough time because she likes to fix things, and I'm like, I was already at the point in my life where I was like, you could only fix something if it wants to be fixed.
Right.
You know, like I will not help anybody that is not trying to help themselves.
Right.
I can't. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy.
No, of course.
I'll drop some knowledge on you. I'll give you a minute.
Yeah.
I'll give you a gem. And then if you want more, let me see what you carve out with what I've given you, and then come back to me, because if not, it's emotionally taxing.
And it's draining. I mean, and I've always said, you know, I'll always put my hand out to help somebody up, but the second that they start to pull me down, that's when you got to let go, and that's hard. It's not easy, because you know you want to see the good in people. You know, people tell me all the time, like, if you need something, call me. Like, they know that they can call me. I'll do anything I can to help them. But like you said, you got to see, you know, if you're not doing anything for yourself, there's nothing I can do for you. You know what I mean? All you're going to do is you're going to put me in a worse spot for whatever reason, whether it's a relationship that I hooked you up with. Hey, look, if you're doing this, call this guy. If you don't call that guy, and I tell him to expect your call, it looks poorly on me. So I mean, that's
right. No, absolutely.
And then it's like, why didn't that guy call me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I always laugh because, you know, people would offer me jobs, and I would look at them and go, you don't want me working for you. You don't want me to be your employee. Listen, we're friends. Let me tell you something. And I got to the point where I was being able to do something. I just know that if my heart is not into something, I am not going to do it.
Be good at it. Yeah.
I'm just not going to be good at it. I ain't just going to do it.
Right.
When I started sharing that more and more, like even with catering, one of my buddies, this guy named Steven, he had a catering company, and I am not like, I'm not like the best at doing that kind of stuff, but I'm good with people, and I was hurting, and Steve would give me these awesome jobs, and I remember telling Steven, I said, look, I'm not the guy that you want me to set up and break down. I'm not good at that. I'm not good with my hands. I'm not good at that. And he's like, what are you good at? And I'm like, if you need me to talk to some people, escort people, VIP people, things like that, engage with people, like that's my strength. And he said, fine. And he'd always put me in these little jobs where I'd have to deal with celebrities and high-end people, because I could just mix in well. Yeah. And that's what I was good at. And the more I started telling people what my strengths were, not every time, but they would modify. And I really appreciated that, because as I started my own business, and you probably learned this because you've managed so many people, when I'm interviewing people, one of the things that I spit out at them is, this is who I am, right. This is how I work, and you have to understand, you got to be okay with this. I'll work with you, but you have to understand, what my strengths are, and I need you to fill all the other voids. And if you can work with me, I'm an amazing ally.
Right. No. Makes sense.
Enough about me. All right. Well, I love you.
Love you too, my man.
And I don't think we should let this much time go in between visits.
Yeah, for sure.
And if and we're getting to the point where soon enough, this boys trip might be, a boys trip, and have the boys with us as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And
that'd be cool.
And see what that dynamic is like. Because if nothing at all, Lennox and Enzo, those like we're saying, I'm like, bro, that's your family.
Yeah. That's his cousin.
And he knows. And your Uncle Paul and Lennox, he's got a cousin out in the Carolinas. So.
Yep.
All right, bro.
My door's always open.
Yeah, it's just so fucking hard to get to your door.
I know.
Jesus.
It's hard for me to leave my door.
Oh shit. All right, well, I'll get this up, and we'll get some nice little clips of us, and I hope that you enjoyed this a little bit more than you thought you wouldn't.
Oh, it was great, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully some other people will enjoy it, but I know I did.
We didn't name people, which is nice.
No.
Kept the names out to protect the innocent.
Absolutely.
And your mom, I remember your mom. That's when you called me. That was probably the first time I really heard desperation in your voice.
Yeah. It's my girl, man.
I'm glad, that we've been at least available to each other by phone, because we haven't lived in the same city. Probably longer than we ever did together, right? I met you when I was 14. I left when I was 24.
Yeah.
And that was, all these stories of Paul and Andy, it's just like a 6-7 year stint. It's like, you feel like the band's been together for 50 years. No, you're talking about 6-7 years of being together. And then we both have been gone I've been gone for 18 years. So that's definitely we've been friends outside of, we spent more time outside of that.
Yeah, we've been friends longer in different cities than we have in the same city.
Yeah.
And we went a couple stretches without seeing each other for a while, man.
Yeah.
But like you said, man, we talk all the time, man. It's good to have, and even if it's just like, hey, how's it going, dude? How's your day going? It's like, it's just good to have the friendly voice and,
and the stretches,
laugh. And,
the stretches have just been,
life.
Yeah, dude, you're in the restaurant business, man, and that's an impossible business.
Yeah,
it takes
really
very time consuming, and it takes a lot of effort and energy. And then, being in Hollywood, going out to act and all of that stuff, it just, you know, the days can fly by.
Yep.
And now that we're a little bit
fatherhood.
older, and then fatherhood, and you know,
relationships,
shit.
and
you know, I've never
parents.
Never, yeah. Oh, you know, you've never been to my wedding. I've never been to yours. It's
it's an ongoing joke.
You know, it's you know, I think now that we're a little bit older, and obviously, you know, financially a little bit more set, and understanding that it's important to get together once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. We should just plan the next one before we leave this one. That's what we should do.
Yeah, all right.
Or at least give us like a timeline, you know, 2 weeks after we do it, we got to figure out what the next one is.
It seems like November's our month.
November's good for me because I get slow.
Yeah.
But things may change this year, who knows? I may, maybe I'll make a change.
I'm gonna make a change.
Maybe that time, man. You know me, bro.
No, that's it.
Rolling Stone doesn't grow moss, man.
That's right. I mean, you're always, you know, it's like, I'm always like, what am I doing next? Like, I know what we're doing now with the real estate business. You know, I became a realtor. I got my mortgage license. Then I'm like, I can start my own company. And we started the company, and now like, how do we expand the company? And there's always like what's next.
Once this thing gets set up and it's running itself, and I just can minimally do it. I mean, look, this is my 5-year anniversary of opening my restaurant. 6 years is kind of my point where you know,
start getting itchy,
and start you know, and tired and bored, you know. And I have a great gig. I love my guests, you know. Staffing sucks right now, but I love that interaction. You know what I mean? But I think that you like to build things. Yeah.
You know, there's a creative side of you, and especially in your business. I mean, you build things from the ground up, and once they're completed for you, I feel like, you know, it may not be as challenging because you've what's the word? You've stabilized it.
Yeah, plateaued. Yeah.
Well, or not plateaued, but you know, you stabilize it, right? Like when in real estate, you build a new building and you go through all the pre-planning and the financing, and then you start breaking ground and all that stuff, and then once the tenants are in there and everybody's just paying their rent, you know, it's like damn, like it's done. Like, what do you do? You're sitting around waiting for, you know, you got to get on to the next project.
Yep.
And one of my favorite guys, Grant Cardone.
See him, that's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but one of his things was, you know, he talks a lot about relocating and moving. And he said, you know, it keeps you from being complacent. And when you go and you become like a stranger in a strange land, you're more alert, you're more aware, you're forced to go out and engage.
Yep.
And, you know, being here in Scottsdale, like you're saying, he ain't fucking kidding. We were here one day. Yesterday was day 2. We're sitting like in an alley of a bar, like not even on the road, in the alley. And like people are driving by and honking at us, walking by, waving at us. Hey guys, what are you guys doing here? You're like a group of people. They were in the middle of the street, and they said, "Hey, there's Paul and Andy." They came inside.
Yeah.
You know, and
even in the Brett where we had our lunch too. Remember the guys that we met first when we got here?
The guys from the W. I mean,
we had 15 or 20 people with us at the W at 10:30 in the morning, and we got there at 10:15.
it doesn't take very long.
Yeah, it was fun. It's been a blast, man. It's been a blast, dude. Like traveling alone is the same thing, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's and that's why when you split up, I mean, it's like, hey, who else did you meet? Oh, I met this dude over here. Yeah. Hey, I met these guys from California. Yeah. Oh, I met this girl from here. Yeah. You know, like even when we went in different directions, you know, we're a good tandem.
Yeah.
But even every night that we've split and gone in different ways,
it's like things happen. Yeah. You know, I met the developers last night. I got to, you know, had a nice conversation. Rebecca's very much like that. She's a great travel. I would tell her when we first started dating, I said, the thing about you is you're one of those people. You could just you will land wherever you land. Throw a dart at the map. You land there, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
She's super resilient. You know, birds of a feather flock together. You know, I think
that's right.
I think if we were any other beasts or any other types of people, you know, I don't think that our relationship would be as interesting as it is, and to give it the sustenance that it needs to endure.
Yep.
You know,
you got lucky to find, man. You found that partner, man. You know
well, I was referring to us too.
Oh yeah.
You know,
but it's all the same. It's all the same synergy. You know,
it is. Yeah. All the people that I'm most attracted to You know, they're very similar. You know, they're all like small business owners or entrepreneurs. Or one of the things I love about LA, and LA sometimes, you know, California and can get a bad rap, but you know, being in Los Angeles, people leave. Most of them leave somewhere. They leave everybody they know, everybody that they love, say bye to their friends or moms, all their comforts, and then they go west. And to be in the entertainment industry or whatever, any other industry, and it takes a certain type of mindset and individual to be able to do that. And Rebecca, you know, she's done it several times. She started at 18, left the house, left to Denver, came back to be with me, which was ballsy. And you know, you've done it over and over again, and you know, I continue to do it myself. I think that's what keeps us interested in each other.
Yeah, New York was like that. You know, I went up there with a plan. I said, I'm going to start running a small place. I'm going to move closer to the city. I'm going to take a bigger job, and I executed it, man. I mean, I don't know how I did it. You know, I did it by working hard and keeping my goals in front of me. But it's a lot like LA. Like New York's a lot like LA in that sense. It's obviously different, but it's very much the same, and it's root,
and I mean,
you know,
the restaurant industry, Hollywood is for Hollywood and entertainment. But like, if you're gonna be in the food industry and you want to know if you're gonna be badass, you're in New York. It's
meant to get up there, and in a matter of 2 years, 3 years, to be able to gain the position that I had in that market. I mean, it was I impressed myself, man.
Yeah, no.
Honestly, it was.
I mean,
I knew nobody. It wasn't like I went up there and had to connect and said, hey, come here, so you can stay here. This is what we're gonna do. It was like, I just went up there and said, all right, this is where I'm gonna land.
I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, and you I think every time I talked to you, it was like the project you were working on was like the biggest project to date, right. And then the next project was gonna be the bigger project to date.
Yeah, they got progressively bigger for sure.
And I remember when you called and you said, you know, you have your way too. You called and you're like, I'm done. And you walked away from a fucking fat check.
Yep.
Security. You know, like, and you're like, what does that mean? And you're like, no, done with this shit. I'm gonna go do my own thing. It's time. And you did. And you know, it's just you know, again, being on the other side of the phone, it's not like, oh, we did this today, we did this. I'm like, yeah, I've heard this. It's like, nope, I'm doing something new. And then you're constantly giving me like new information, and it's like, it's very, very sexy. It is.
Yeah, man. Same thing with you, man. Like, I don't worry about you anymore, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's because you've done it. You know, you've changed and done this and done that, and you know, I know you're gonna land on your feet, and I know you're gonna make the right decision. I give you the advice that I can. I give you a little bit of a little devil's advocate, which sometimes I don't even agree with myself, but I want you to hear it from me. Yeah. But I don't worry about you, man. I know you're gonna make the right decision, man. And if you don't, you're gonna correct it. So
yeah, I'm gonna say I fucked up. I apologize. Figure out how to move on, and not do it again.
Yeah.
All right.
That's us talking about ourselves for the last
hour. That's us talking about for ourselves the last hour.
Very, very invigorating for me.
Yeah, no, it's like a nice. Like
I love talking about myself and you, dude.
So in closing, let me give you the last 5 minutes of my thought of the day. Yeah, man, just a blessing. It's been it's been a good life thus far, and it's getting, I'm sure it's gonna have its downs and as much, but it's also, when you're on a journey. And you got good, surrounded by compatriots. Is that the right word?
Sure.
Yeah, it makes the journey exciting, and I feel that for the first time ever in my life, I'm starting to live my life in a way where, when I get to my last breath, that I'm starting to think I've done everything that I've wanted to do, and maybe it's been a good life.
I think I've had a good life. I think you've had a good life.
Yeah, no, I have, and I just feel like it just keeps getting better, and I'm doing things right now that, even this podcast shit, man, like I've been wanting to do this shit for years on this level, and Rebecca, she's always having to remind me, because I'll be frustrated, and like we got whiteboards in the house, and there's notes, and there's things to do, and she has to stop me sometimes, and she's like, look at where we are, look at what we're doing, look at what you're talking about doing.
Yep.
And she has to remind me, she's like, you're not in an Uber driving people around
right.
at 12:30 in the morning.
Right.
Like, you know, to pay your cell phone bill so you can keep the app running.
Right.
You know, so you can keep driving. And it's hard for me to sort of like sit back and go and take a deep breath and look at it and go, okay. And so
no, but you guys get away and do what you need to do, man. You take your little vacations and your hikes and your, you know, see the family. You know, we do this. You know, that's where you know, like you said, man, we've been sleeping until freaking 10 o'clock in the morning because you don't even realize because the motor's turning. So this is when you get to sit back. And
I get up like I get up 5 times a night back home. Easy.
I do too.
And here it's like I've slept through the night every night.
Me too. Heavily on the couch last night.
Yeah. I'm gonna insert that picture.
Do not put that picture.
No, I won't put that picture.
Dude. I will never fucking.
No. There's certain things that's okay. No, that's just for me only.
You love to get that one too. I remember that other picture that was me in my little.
Well, let's get you back at those little antics you keep pulling on me.
Well, whatever, man. I told you it was coming, bro.
No, I know, and you got me good. He's got me locking the door. Like I'm like locking the door to my room. I'm paranoid. You know, I go take a shower and I lock the bathroom door too because I'm thinking he's gonna find a way to pop the lock. He's gonna pull some prank on me. And
it's our thing, man.
And it's our thing. It's your thing.
You haven't won one yet.
I haven't even made an attempt because I'm afraid of the repercussion. Like I'm like, let him have his moment. I'm not gonna get back at him because like it just I don't need this to escalate.
No, I got you.
I know what to expect.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that. I'm gonna embrace it and then I let it go.
Oh shit!
All right, let's go get a bite to eat.
Let's go eat. Let's go check out Phoenix. Oh.
All right. No, Scottsdale.
No, we're gonna go to Phoenix.
Oh, are we?
Yeah,
lovely.
we have to go to the concert.
All right, that's right.
Cold beer on a Saturday night. Pair of jeans that fit just right. And the radio. Cold beer on a Friday night. Pair of jeans that fit just right. And the radio. I got new songs. Silly love in a woman's eyes. Touch of a precious time. No others know.
So I am back in LA and clean shaven, haircut. So it's been a few days since this trip, but I just wanted to add that after the podcast, we went to the Zac Brown concert. And as you'll see in some of the clips that Jomar's dropping into the video, we're in the pit. And we didn't start in the pit. We started on the floor. We're definitely several rows back, section F something. And during the third act, Paul and I just looked at each other and thought, you know what? It's been about 20 years since we've crashed the front, as you heard in the podcast. 30 years for the Pearl Jam concert, but 20 years since we last did it. And we thought, what the fuck? And we went for it. Now, Paul got in right away. I went back because I left my jacket at my seat, grabbed my jacket, beelined it in. This guy came out of nowhere. I was all the way through. I had made it. And he tapped me on the back and he said, hey, where's your wristband? Didn't have one to show him. I exited out. Got my bearings, took a look around, waited for another opportunity. See this, my little gold bracelet that I always have on. The wristband that you needed to get into the pit was gold. So what I did was I put it on my left hand where the wristbands were. And when I saw an opportunity, a moment of weakness by the security guards, I beelined it, flashed my bracelet, made our way to the front. And as you can see by the videos that we posted in the footage that we got, your boy AMJ and my brother Paul once again made it all the way to the front in the pit section. Didn't have to climb a fence this time. And as we used to say when we were kids, you know, making the myths. We're already planning our trip next year, and I'm sure we'll get some better coverage of it next year. But in the meantime, just wanted to add this to the remainder of this podcast. Love you guys, and thank you for your support. Your boy AMJ, who loves you, baby.